As I have a meeting coming up very shortly. But I'm talking about the NFL ban. It's a couple of thoughts. First of all, who's still watching the NFL and why? I'm keeping it totally real right now because let me tell you, there was not a bigger Dolphin fan, especially in my household, than Courtney Omega growing up. My father was a Bills fan. My mother hated the Dolphins just because she cared not for Don Shula or for Dan the Man Marino. And yes, I do call him Dan the Man. But like the year that everything happened with Colin Kaepernick, I think I was even going through my own kind of just coming into really being accountable with my consciousness, first of all. So I was immediately like, yeah, I'm cool not watching, the NFL, not supporting the NFL. And I just so happened to be at my then business partner's home when the Super Bowl happened. And yeah, being from Philly, definitely wanted to rejoice and be like, wow, dang, they really did that. Because when I was there, trust me, it wasn't going down as far as championships were concerned. So wanted to give them their dues and propers, but you're like, this is not even, I'm not even supposed to be seeing this, because the reason why I even saw it was because I was at my business partner's house. It wasn't intended to be a Super Bowl party, but it turned into one. So I think that with anything, as far as movements are being conscious or woke, you have got to make a choice. In just that being comfortable, being complacent is not going to be you. And I want to say the cliche, oh, it's easier said than done. But the fact of the matter is that it's easier done when it's done. Period. Just do it. I've sat in town hall meetings. I've sat in conferences. I've sat in symposiums where people were just like, well, we want to show this and that we want to boycott this and that, but I don't want to give up this and that. And when I would come out and challenge that, they would be like, well, don't attack the sister or the brother. They're just speaking their truth. They're speaking their truth. And I'm like, do you think there were people during the bus boycott movement that didn't want to speak their truth about how much easier it would have been for them just to get a ride, just to ride the bus, just to keep their jobs, just to not have to, I came upon this statistic like a couple of years ago, and it was funny to me, and it kind of was like ironic, but blew my mind a little bit. Was that one of the biggest supporters of the bus boycott was this like shoemaker, and apparently it was a black shoemaker, and he got very rich during the bus boycott. And so he was just like, yeah, let this bus boycott continue, because trust me, out of every struggle, out of every challenge, y'all, there will be a new champion. Like if 80% of the NFL is employed, or 80% of the NFL's employees are black, you're going to figure out what other superpowers you have. Because remember, God gave us 9 talents, not just one. I remember when Mike Vick was getting his behind handed to him following his release from prison and playing for the Eagles, and I was no longer living in Philadelphia. I was here in Miami. But I remember I tried to start this whole boycott, retire Vic. That was the campaign I started. It was a hashtag retire Vic, like encouraging him to just retire, because basically what was happening every Sunday was he was having he was being lynched. It was a national lynching every Sunday. Y'all, I got my Malcolm X finger. That wasn't even on purpose, but I was encouraging him to retire, and people were like, oh, that man's got to eat. That man's got to live. That man, you shouldn't be encouraging him. Like, I was getting some pretty strong language DMs, and some were actually public, but this is when I was tweeting really heavy. And some people reached out to me, and some were like, they were notable people. I'm not going to mention their name, but some of them reached out to me on DMs and were like, yo, I applaud what you're doing, but like, that man's got to eat. Some people were just nasty, like I said, on DMs and on live Twitter or in the public postings. But the fact of the matter is this, guys, without struggle, there is no progress. And they know that too. Your oppressor knows that. And when I say they, it could be anybody, but it's the ones that are holding the coins. The Walmarts, the Asian hair stores, the shoemakers who aren't black owned, and there's no boycott going on. The gas providers. I had an ex who always talked about, you know what, I spend so much on gas, and I just know if, people stop pumping gas for, 1 week, they would figure out how to make these gas prices lower. But guess what? They're banking on the fact that you won't. You won't stop using gas for 1 week. You won't be inconvenienced with walking for 1 week. So they're going to keep them at what they're at. And they're going to keep raising it because they know what? You're going to keep paying it. So again, until we become comfortable in our own discomfort, we will continue to be oppressed. We will continue to be disregarded. We will continue to be overrun. And we will continue to lose. What's winning worth? That's my thoughts.